Last week, the number of airline passengers screened crossed over the 1 million per day mark. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to see if now is the time to buy and hold airline stocks. My name's Nick and welcome to Ways of Wealth. If this is your first time here, we highlight key events that happened in the market over the past week. And before we begin, I'd like to ask you a huge favor. If you get some value out of this video, if you learn something new, do me a favor, hit the like button. It definitely helps out my channel. And don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button, turn the notification bell on. We do this every single week. So let's be honest. It should come to no surprise that the airline industry is lagging other sectors in regards to the recovery in the stock market. You have companies like United and American Airlines that are down 60% year to date. You have a company like Southwest that's down 27% year to date. And for my fellow Canadian investors, Air Canada itself is down 70% year to date. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to see if there is a contrary in play. But before you pull out your inner Warren Buffett, let's take a look at some of the factors, the pros and cons, to see if airline stocks are a good buy today. Speaking of the Oracle of Omaha, there's no better place to start this breakdown than by looking at what the greatest investor of all time is doing in the airline sector. Coming into 2020, on the 13F filing, it showed that there was $8 billion invested spread across 4 airlines: American, United, Delta, and Southwest. So there was a pretty big position in Berkshire in the airline sector. And then it came to everybody's shock and awe at the May annual shareholder meeting where Buffett announced that he had sold all of his airline positions.
We like those airlines, but we don't. I like the world has changed for the airlines, and I don't know how it's changed, and I hope it corrects itself in a reasonably prompt way. I don't know whether the Americans have now changed their habits or will change their habits because of an extended period, if it happens that we're semi-shut down in the economy. I don't know whether the trends toward what people have been doing by phone.
The trend that Buffett is talking about looks a lot like this. Tremendous growth through 2010 through to 2018. But although the passengers per day crossed through that 1 million mark, the volume is still down 65% from this time last year. With the lack of customers, it brings up the topic of cash burn. And these companies just reported their Q3 results a couple weeks ago, and it was to no surprise that these companies are burning through billions and billions of dollars per quarter. But on some positive news, Southwest came out. They announced that they were able to reduce the cash burn they had per day. Previously, it was 23 million, and they've been able to reduce it to 16 million. But there's a lot of lobbyists right now in Washington trying to get more federal aid on top of the 25 billion that was already issued. These companies need a lifeline in the short run. But let's not forget the resiliency of these airlines. They've been through similar situations in the past and they've been able to push through. You've seen airlines starting to change up their routes. You have United, which is flying more routes into Florida, sunnier destinations for the people that want to get away in the northern states. You also have Southwest, which is now flying into Houston. So these companies are starting to reorganize and find where the customer demand is. A perfect example of resiliency in the airline industry was the measures that were put in place post 9/11. In the 5 months after the attacks, the airlines saw consumer demand drop 31%. And that's when they knew they needed to do something in order to rebuild that confidence, in order to ensure that the customers were safe getting back on the planes. That's when they introduced the Aviation and Transportation Safety Act on November 1st, 2001, and it had 2 measures in it. The first measure, all passengers are to be screened, And the second measure, their baggage as well. This is why we have to go to the airport 2 hours prior to every departure. Although it took almost 3 years for travel to return to its pre-9/11 levels, these security measures were necessary in order to instill confidence to get people back flying. So what's the solution? United Airlines came out this week and they announced that they're doing a rapid testing pilot project for their flight from Newark, New Jersey to London Heathrow. Now for the customers that opt into this, everybody on that particular flight will have been tested except for children under the age of 2. If you decide not to get tested, they will put you on another flight. But I think this could be massive in regards to instilling confidence in the short run to get these international passengers back in the air. And the question you have all been waiting for, is it time to buy airline stocks today? And there's a few different factors at play when you're thinking about this. The first one I go back to is Buffett. He's unable to figure out where this trend is going post-pandemic. And then you got to look to another factor being it took 3 years for traffic to reach levels that were pre-9/11. So there's going to be some time to figure out where this industry is going. The underlying fact is that travel will come back. It's just a matter of when. When is the biggest question. So what I would suggest to you is pick a few of your favorite airline stocks and study them over the next 2 to 3 years. Figure out which companies are doing the best in the short run to position themselves for the long run, so you can buy these companies in a few years that you can hold for 10 years to come. That's all for the market recap. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for tuning in. If you made it this far, consider subscribing, turning the notification bell on. We do this every single week. If you got some value, if you enjoyed the video, give me a big thumbs up. It helps my channel out. Have a great week on the markets. Happy trading.